we are going to be having a look at whether anyone can create a luxury brand. Now, it's not going to be easy. Of course, if you're creating a luxury brand, you have to have some pillars to actually have success with that luxury brand. But to actually be perceived as a luxury brand doesn't take all that much. Keywording there is perceived. If they then buy your product and it's a terrible quality, then obviously they're going to find out that you're not a luxury brand. But being able to be perceived as a luxury brand is very, very key to the whole luxury brand experience. I've got 3 brands that I want to have a look at today. The majority of you will know Rolex, and then we'll go into more obscure but still very, very well known luxury brands that are more high-end than Rolex. The reason I want to start with Rolex is because it's something that a lot of people will associate with luxury, but they do it in a way that it's affordable luxury. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that Rolex is cheap. What I'm saying is, in the luxury world, Rolex is seen as being affordable. You know, let's say you wanted to create a brand that was on par with Rolex in terms of the pricing structure and where they're seen in terms of the general public. So the first thing that I want to say is branding. When you have a look at the Rolex logo and the colors that they're using, it's very minimal, but it's still got some class about it. So obviously this is very specific to the Rolex brand. They're using a crown. But when you have a look at a lot of these other luxury brands, they're all using, and the more affordable luxury brands, they're all using very minimal logos. Very clean, simplistic, when you drill down to the smaller details. They're all using, you know, dark greens, dark purples, dark blues, midnight colors. And this is very, very evident here. So when you're looking at all the colors that they're using, this is not a normal blue. So if you went to go to, now this is an extreme, but Poundland, for example, you would not see this shade of blue because it's more seen as like a luxury color, right? You'd see a more generic blue. So for example, you've got Extra. Now obviously the colors being a little bit distorted because of the camera and etc. But now the blue that they're using on this, let me just hold that up to the camera so you can see. It's not this color. It's not, you know, the more muted colors. And a lot of these luxury brands will use that to their advantage because they don't want to be seen as being associated with all these other brands by their color. And color is very, very important when creating a luxury brand. So let's carry on and let's move on to, well, first of all, you can see the way that they're laying out the website. I'm not going to go into massive depth into the website because, you know, you can view websites yourself and see what kind of style they're doing. But all of the color grading for all of the videos, very similar. They're using kind of this dark tones, and it's not overly saturated, vibrant colors. It's very muted. It's very sophisticated. Very minimal when it comes to text as well. This is the best way that I can kind of show you the next thing I want to talk about, which is photography. Luxury brands are incredible at doing photography. And in my opinion, Rolex are some of the best when it comes to photography. For example, this. Extremely clean. Now, I'm pretty certain that this is not real. This will be CAD. It will be rendered out. But the way that they're showing this, you know, super zoomed in, close-ups of the product, showing the quality of the product, it's something that they do very well. And they're doing it in still image and they're doing it in video format. They're not just putting it on a model's wrist and they're not just showing the watch. They're actually putting it into scenarios where it's not normally seen. You're not seeing these cheaper brands doing this. Same with this, right? Yes, it's a little bit cliche, maybe, but it's still very, very high quality. You can see the steel. You can see the, I mean, I don't know if that's steel, but I'm guessing it is. You can see the quality in the photography. And that is not cheap, right? They're doing that on purpose. Again, you know, look at the actual photography that they're doing, the videography that they're doing, close up, showing the actual quality of the product. It's very, very good. So if you're going to be creating a luxury brand yourself, and maybe you don't have the expensive models. Let's try and find one if they do have one. There we go. Maybe you don't have one of the greatest tennis players ever to model some of your watches or whatever product you're going to be selling. A very easy way, now I say easy, but it's easier than getting Federer to model, is taking very, very close-up photography of your product, making sure that the lighting is very, very good and you're showcasing the quality. Now, if your product's terrible, it's plastic, it's rubbish, it's going to break, and you're doing close-up photography, it's not going to work because it's just, they're going to be able to see that it's just not very good quality. So it needs to be good quality with what you're doing because you're going to want to create a luxury brand, hopefully, because that's why you're watching this. Right, let's move on to our next watch brand. Now, let me reopen that. Reopen close window. Look at how they're starting out. Close-ups of the watch in a video format. Very, very simple text. Very, very simple text on the right. Video format. Close-ups of the watch. Right, it's a pattern that you can replicate whenever you're creating your own brand. Again, this is a little bit different because these guys are some of the most expensive boutique watches in the world. And the way that they're showcasing that, when you had a look at the Rolex one, it was very, very close photography, videography, and it was layers of showcasing why they're the best watch. These guys on the other hand, they know they're the best. They don't need to showcase that they're the best. So they've got new collections. Let me change the color of that. They've got new collections, they've got news, and then they've got more news, followed by their products. And it's not going, hey, these are the features, these are the benefits, this is the cool photography that we've got. It's more of, we know we're the best, so just here's our stuff. If we click through, again, very, very simple. Let's click through to a watch. And then you've got all the details about the watch. It's very clean. You haven't got the full... We go back to Rolex. We don't have the full videos in the background with the scroll effects and all the fancy website stuff. Now, I'm sure that if we clicked through to an actual watch, okay, fair enough, it even gets fancier than that. So again, this is more modern, in my opinion. And I think more and more brands will go down this route of this style of website. But these guys have the money to create a website like this. Don't think that they don't, because they do. But they've chosen to do this. They've chosen to create a website like this because it's very, very simple in the way that they're doing it. Again, it's very, very good photography, but it's more kind of classic watch photography of just showing the whole thing. Whereas Rolex have got, it's a different style of photography. Again, I'm not a photography expert, but something else I want to talk about is the fact that on some of these very, very luxurious high-end websites, they don't allow you to actually go and purchase their products. Now, you'd be thinking, well, why? Why do they do that? If I have a product and people are on my website, I want them to be able to buy. Once you start getting up into the high-end products, it's not about making money as such, because you don't want anyone being able to purchase your products. You want people that fit into your company's narrative to be able to purchase your products. And you want to be able to say no to certain people. If someone has the money to go and purchase a product and they say, I want this product, a lot of these brands will go, no, you need to purchase this first and work your way up to this product, let's say the more high-end product in their line. Because when they release new products, they want them to go to their most loyal customers first, because that's who they want to target. That's who they want to serve. And to get to that level of being trusted by the brands, you need to work up through that. And, this is something that a lot of car brands do. They'll have events where their top clients will come to these events where they'll showcase new products that they're launching. They'll showcase maybe even concepts, new products, new ideas, and talk to them and get ideas from these clients. In these very, very kind of boutique events that they hold. To get into these events, you might have to own every single Ferrari brand, let's say, every single Ferrari car that they've launched to be able to get into these events. Maybe even multiple Ferraris to get in, even invited into these events. So it's all about exclusivity and making sure that people feel like they can't have it, because When you can't have something, you want it even more, especially if you have the money to purchase it as well. It's something that a lot of these brands will do. Let's move on to another brand, which is Koenigsegg. A very, very high-end sports car or hypercar, supercar. Again, it's got the same patterns as the watch. Very high quality, sophisticated photography. Very, very clean landing page with, just the name of the car with Discover. That's it. It's not got buy now, sale on, some cheesy tagline. It's just, this is what we offer. If you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine. They don't need you to buy their cars. Now, obviously they do, but they don't want to be perceived as a brand that needs the sale, because it takes away from the richness of having something like this. Something else that is very, very key to having a luxury brand, but you guys that are creating your luxury brand might not be able to do this, and it's showcasing history. Now, you can showcase history of where you might have been inspired by something. I don't know legally how that would work, but history is a key thing when it comes to these luxury brands. They want to be seen as something that's been there for a long time, and the history makes people buy into the brand and want to be a part of that history. So let's go back to how you can actually create that luxury brand. The first thing that I think is really, really crucial, probably the number one thing, is photography, and obviously videos as well. So that gets into the same thing. Photography and videography is probably the number one thing, because if you're taking very, very high quality photography, just look at all these luxury brands that you admire and go, what are they doing? Don't kind of look at the product, don't look at your subconscious thoughts about the brand, because you might be a fan of Rolex, but that's going to skew the way that you do things. Look at the actual how. Let's say this is the canvas. How much of the product does it take up? So with the watch, for example, cover up that much of the, it looks like a little weird spider. It might cover that much of the screen. And it's super, super detailed, super crisp imagery. And then on this side, you might have a lower brand watch company that's got like the whole watch in here, just kind of basic image on the right, text on the left, buy now. There's a big, big difference between these two. This is seen as cheap, this is seen as expensive. And the only thing is photography, or videography if you want this to be a video. So that is the number one thing for me on how people perceive your brand. But you can have the best photography, but if you don't have a good product, you don't have anything. So the next one is product quality. You need to have good product quality, because you can't be taking close-up imagery of your product if it's not good. And I mean, this costs money. Yes, you can produce very, very high quality prototypes where you maybe spend a little bit more on that prototype, for example. So you could go prototype first and spend more money on this, and then go investment, for example, after because the prototype can lead into the high quality photography that then can circle all the way back to get investment, which can then lead on to actually producing the high quality product that you want. So you don't need to do high quality products straight away. You can build a prototype, boom, do the photography for it, and then get investment to build the high quality product. And then finally, it's actually your customer experience. And this is something that a lot of people fall short on. Now, obviously, this is like an e-commerce world at the moment. When it comes to a lot of brands, they're only selling online. They're doing things, where it's high quality product, but I mean, terrible customer experience when they receive that product. You'll receive it in a brown box, even if the box has got like, I don't know, some fancy tissue paper in it and it's got prints on it. That doesn't really do much, to be honest, when you're selling luxury branding to high net worth individuals. It needs to be an experience, and you need to be able to serve your customers better than anyone else in the market. So here's something that you can do. Let's say you were going to create a car brand. It doesn't need to be a car brand, but let's say you were going to create a car brand. Go into Vauxhall. Now that's a random brand. I'm not saying that they're bad. Just go into a lower brand, a lower price point brand of automotive vehicles. Any kind of high-end brand. I think Lamborghini, they get a lot of people going in because of the kind of young person, aspirational rich kid persona that they have. And the way that their staff might interact with you might not be very good because they get a lot of young people going, I'm rich, when they're actually not very rich. So they might be a little bit pushy when it comes to that experience. And maybe that's not the best one to go to, but a Koenigsegg, Bugatti, any of those kind of high-end brands that are maybe a little bit above the kind of Range Rover, high-end Audis. You get what I'm trying to say. Go into both of them, view the experience, and actually just, take a little notepad with you, write down some things that you notice, and there will be big differences. Now, something that you can do as well is go into hotels. Go into a hotel that's a little bit cheaper, like a Premier Inn. Then go into a hotel that's a Four Seasons. You don't need to stay there for a long time. You can stay there for a weekend and do some actual research into the way that they treat everyone. And actually push the staff, right? Go into the Premier Inn and go, I have this problem. Can you solve it? Go into the Four Seasons. I have the same problem. Can you solve it? And watch the difference. The way that they will treat you is massively, massively different. And if you're looking at creating a luxury brand that can go up against the Rolex, the Ferrari, the Bugatti, the Bentley, you can have the photography, you can have the product quality, but if your customer experience is terrible, now this is not customer service. There's a big difference between customer service and customer experience. Customer experience is the whole journey as a whole, and it's how your customers are interacted with throughout the whole lifetime that they're with you. Now, I know this is a lot. What I might do is break this down into multiple videos so that it gives you a little bit more perspective on what is actually needed in more detail than just get good photography. How do you get good photography? How do you edit the pictures? How do you put that on the website so that it's solving the customer's objections without them even having those objections? How is it perceiving your brand where you want it to be perceived and the customers that want to be buying from you? There's a lot of nuances when it comes to all of this. So I can make videos on this again, but if you have any questions, put them down in the description below because I know that I kind of glossed over everything. But again, I am kind of making newer videos when it comes to customer experience. Before it was more in finance. So it might take a little while for me to get used to the new topic, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Getting back to my kind of normal style of videos, which I enjoy. And if you've enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see some other stuff, let me know as well. Hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.